Snow drifted across the Wyoming plains like feathers shaken from the wide, gray sky. The wind had a bite to it, sharp as a blade, yet the lantern outside Luke Harrington's cabin still burned. He kept it lit every night now, a signal for the stagecoach driver, and for the woman he had never met, but had ridden to for 3 long months. Luke tugged his coat tighter around his shoulders. He was 35, a rancher built from hard years, heartbreak, and too many winters spent alone. A man who had almost forgotten what hope felt like, until he received the letter from a woman named Clara Miles, answering his ad for a bride. He never thought he'd place an ad. But after losing both parents, after the cattle sickness that wiped out half his herd, after the doctor told him the coughing spells were getting worse, loneliness became heavier than any burden he could haul. Tonight, on Christmas Eve, her stage was supposed to arrive. If she came at all. He was still staring down the trail when the distant bells of the stagecoach jingled through the storm. Luke's breath caught. He wasn't a man easily shaken, but tonight his hands trembled. The coach pulled up, wheels grinding through ice. The driver climbed down first, stomping snow from his boots. "Got a passenger for you, Harrington," he hollered, pulling open the coach door. And then, she stepped out. A woman in a deep emerald coat, petite but with a quiet pride in the way she held her chin. Snowflakes dusted her auburn hair, her gloved hand clutched a small leather satchel, and her eyes. God help him. Her eyes were warm honey brown, bright even against the frozen night. "Mr. Harrington?" she asked, voice soft but steady. Luke swallowed. "Yes, ma'am. And you must be Clara." She smiled, the kind of smile that thawed something frozen inside him. But there was something else too. A shadow behind that smile. She wasn't just nervous. She was hiding something. The secret in her eyes. Inside the cabin, Clara warmed her hands near the fire while he made her tea. She looked around politely, at the wooden bed he'd sanded smooth for her arrival, the quilts he'd ordered from town, the wreath he'd hung above the mantel. He wasn't a man of decoration, but he wanted her first night to feel like Christmas, like a home. "I didn't expect such care," she said gently. "Most men looking for a mail-order bride aren't so thoughtful. I figured if a woman is brave enough to travel across the country to marry a stranger," Luke said, handing her the cup, "the least I can do is make it welcoming." Her cheeks warmed pink. "You're kinder than you know." But the shadow was still in her eyes. Luke noticed when she coughed into her sleeve, or when her hand shook slightly as she lifted the teacup. He noticed when she pressed a palm to her chest quietly, thinking he hadn't seen. "Long journey?" he asked casually. "Yes," she breathed too quickly. "Very long." There was more to it, but Luke didn't push. Not yet. He wasn't the only one carrying things they didn't talk about. A man losing his strength. The next morning dawned pale and silver. Luke chopped wood outside even though the cold scraped his lungs raw. Twice he bent over coughing, gripping the chopping block until stars blurred his vision. Inside, Clara, watching through the window, rushed out. "Luke, stop, please," she begged. "You're hurting yourself." He straightened slowly, embarrassed. "Just a cough." "A cough doesn't make a man nearly fall." Her voice shook. So did her hands. "Let me help," she said. "You don't have to," Luke murmured. "I want to." They worked together, Clara stacking the logs he split, both moving in quiet rhythm. But halfway through, she pressed a hand to her side, wincing. "You all right?" he asked. I'm fine." But her eyes said otherwise. Two people, two secrets, one winter that might break them both. The night everything broke. It happened 4 nights after her arrival. Luke woke to the sound of Clara crying. She was sitting near the fire, shoulders trembling, breath tight. Her satchel was open beside her. Inside he saw medicine bottles. She turned as if she'd been caught stealing. "I didn't want you to know yet," she whispered. "But I can't hide it tonight." Luke sat beside her gently. "Tell me." Clara wiped her cheeks, breathing shallowly. Before I answered your ad, the doctors told me I have a heart condition. It's been growing worse. They said travel could be dangerous. They said I shouldn't make big plans. She swallowed hard. But I couldn't stay there. I couldn't just wait to die alone. I wanted a chance at life. Even if short, even if uncertain. And your letters made me feel like I wasn't already gone. Luke felt his chest tighten. Not from sickness this time, but from how her voice broke. Clara, why didn't you tell me earlier? Because, she whispered, men don't choose sick wives. Luke took her shaking hands, holding them firmly. I didn't choose you for your strength. I chose you because your letters felt like sunlight. Because you listened. Because you wrote with hope even when it hurt. Clara, if you only have weeks or months or years, I'll take all of them. Her tears fell freely now. But there's more, she said, voice trembling. Something I didn't know how to tell you. She reached for her satchel again, pulling out not medicine, but a small folded telegram. With Luke's name on it. He froze. How did you get that? He asked slowly. It arrived at the last stop before the stagecoach changed horses, she said. The station master said it was urgent. He recognized your name from my ticket papers. So he gave it to me. Luke's stomach twisted. Clara, what does it say? She handed him the telegram silently. His hands shook as he opened it. Luke Harrington, your lungs failing. Return to Cheyenne Hospital for immediate treatment. If delayed, survival unlikely. Dr. Bennett. Luke stared at the words until they blurred. His secret, the one he'd planned to hide from her until after Christmas, was now open in her hands. He closed his eyes. Clara whispered, Luke, you knew. A few months, he admitted. But the ranch was failing, winter was coming, and I didn't want to die alone either. I wanted someone to write to talk to dream with. You gave me that. Clara reached up, touching his cheek with trembling fingers. Then maybe, she whispered, we were meant to save each other. The secret she carried saved him. The next morning, before dawn, Clara woke him gently. I made a decision, she said. Luke blinked. About what? You're going to Cheyenne today. He shook his head. Clara, the roads are. I don't care. I'm not letting you die when we haven't even lived one full week together. But your heart. My heart is weaker. Yes, she said, but it still beats enough to get you there. And that's all that matters. Luke felt something warm bloom in his chest. Clara, you'd risk yourself for me. She smiled softly. You risked loneliness. I risk a journey. Love is always a trade. They packed their things, hitched the wagon, and started the long, dangerous trip through snow and wind. Twice the wagon wheels froze. Once a branch cracked beneath the weight of ice, nearly hitting them. Clara grew pale, breath labored, clutching her side occasionally. Do we stop? Luke asked, terrified. No, she whispered. Keep going. When Luke's coughing became too harsh to continue, she took the reins herself, even though her hands shook violently. Hours passed, miles crawled, but Clara never gave up. By dusk they reached the Cheyenne Hospital, frostbitten and exhausted. The doctor rushed Luke inside immediately. Before they wheeled him away, he grabbed Clara's hand. You saved my life, he whispered. No, she smiled faintly, collapsing into a chair. We saved each other. The Christmas miracle. Luke spent 10 days in the hospital. Clara stayed in town, resting in a boarding house while doctors evaluated her condition too. Both received news that felt like divine mercy. Luke's infection, though severe, was treatable. And Clara's heart, though fragile, had not deteriorated as much as feared. When Luke was strong enough to get out of bed, he walked, limping but determined, to the boarding house. He knocked. Clara opened the door slowly. Her eyes widened. Luke. He held out a small velvet box. Her breath caught. Clara Miles, he said softly, you already saved my life before we ever said vows. If you'll still have me, I'd like to spend whatever years we both have left loving you the way you should have been loved your whole life." Tears spilled down her cheeks. "Yes," she whispered. "Of course yes." He slipped the ring onto her trembling hand. Snow drifted behind them like confetti from heaven. It was Christmas morning. Two broken hearts. Two dangerous secrets. Two strangers who crossed winter and fate to find each other. And together, they lived. Not perfectly. Not forever. But fully, gratefully, beautifully. For love given on borrowed time is often the strongest of all. Subscribe for more video.